I enjoy some peaceful time with you. I continue to call upon you in my moments of challenge, sadness, or despair. I call upon you to help me go beyond these feelings, back into the beauty of my garden, my real self. I breathe in a deep breath and smell the fragrant flowers of the garden as I let the breath slowly out. Breathing in again and out. I feel the soft breeze caressing my cheek. We all have a garden, which is our real self. Sometimes all I can see of others is weeds and thorns, or polluted wastelands. We all have a garden, which is our real self. I remind myself of the garden where I can be with God. I am refreshed and ready to make my life as beautiful as the garden I have visited.
this time, I choose to get off the grid and step inside the heart, to be myself. Hi, I'm Sister Jenna, and welcome to the Brahma Kumari's Meditation Museum. The People's Meditation Museum. It really has taken a life on its own, and it just belongs to everyone that comes into the city. My great-great-grandfather, Brahma Babu, who's the founder of the Brahma Kumari's organization and spiritual movement, he used to always say that if you're in big cities, open up a museum that people can come to and really figure themselves out. I can go back to being a teenager and being very driven, and purchasing my first nightclub at 22 or 23, and ended up owning 2 nightclubs, and just knowing the most important part of me succeeding with these nightclubs was my relationship with people. And to this day, I still value my relationships with people. I think our success is rooted in the way that we treat others, and the way we respond, even if others don't treat us very well, that we can still find a way to come from a higher place within ourselves. So I think for those who wish to really move into entrepreneurship or anything to do with business, I mean, I'm not saying that we don't sell anything here, but we're marketing meditation and spirituality. We have 2 meditation museums. We have done thousands of programs and lectures. We have countless of awards, and I think we've done 20 citywide projects already that have gone global. To me, there's something inside of you and your team must be driven to be on the same vibrational level of purpose and meaning, but to value the people that you're in service to, or to value the people that you're trying to market your product to, or to just value the people. And you can't value people if you don't value yourself. So myself and the staff really go into a very important time together where we honor who we are as people, or as we can't serve people genuinely. So a few points of entrepreneurship. Start with valuing yourself. It's important. Never forget that the people you're in service to, or you're trying to get for your product or your idea, that they are very, very important to you. Whether they say yes or no, especially the ones who say no, then you turn around and say, well, how can I help you? Is there anything I can do for you? And you find that your relationships is actually the bedrock of your success. And so I am a big supporter of relationships and the way that we treat each other and in business. And it's much needed now, because now it looks like bullying tends to be a form of success. It isn't. I think that to be very mindful, to be appreciative, to listen, to respect is your pathway to success. On God, if that's okay with you, for us to be able to connect to that link that we left off on Wednesday, I believe. So just take a deep breath, inhale and
exhale. And if it's possible to rekindle, to remember some of the thoughts that transpired on Wednesday, just those thoughts or feelings or ideas about how I can amplify my own original qualities, the love and the peace, and feelings of purity and truth and wisdom. All of these experiences return to me when I practice letting go of the attachments to all my labels, to all these labels. And I just begin to release the familiarity with my name, gender, role, religion. And I simply allow the soul to just be still, just for a little bit. Allowing the events and the voices and the faces and all the circumstances that transpired today to simply let them go, release them, just like water on your hands. Just let them go. You can't change it now. Everything's done. You survived the day, and now you're here, and it's time for you, the soul, and Baba, God's light, God's purity. Not necessarily a need for a religious God or a God with a title. Not a God that seems like he only likes a particular group more than another. No, just Baba. The one who loves me exactly as I am right now. Has no judgment. Criticizes nothing that I do. Does not hate me, dislike me, isolate me, marginalize me, abandons me, forgets me. No, just that God that is an ocean of the feeling of pure love. Pure peace. Pure joy. Pure wisdom. That kind of God. It's in this silence that the change happens. Because in this silence there's no room for the ego to grow. There's no room for attachment or greed or even anger to grow. In silence, there's only Baba. And Baba grows inside. The love grows. The purity grows. The peace grows. Now I'd like you to try a little experimentation. I'd like you to gently open your eyes. not to look at me, but just to look in front of your eyes. I want you to imagine that there is another form of you. I want you to imagine you sitting in front of you and you are looking at you through your eyes, but you're doing it in God's remembrance. And I want you to take some time to really feel that. To look at yourself for the first time with absolutely pure love. Wanting nothing from you, having no regrets of you, having no expectations of you, just love. And through your eyes, that's all you see, is your form of love. Through your eyes, you're giving love to you. Practice this until you can feel your energy increasing. Open-eyed meditation is so vital in sustaining your spiritual efforts. Just keep looking at yourself for a little bit longer and keep God's love in your mind for you. And observe the shifts that's taking place. When was the last time you looked at yourself in this way? You don't care about your shape, your form, your gender, how young you look, how old you look, how tall, how light, how dark, how skinny, how it's not a, you're just so love the soul. And you just appreciate the soul. Try to remember that feeling and hold on to it as long as you can. All right, whenever you're ready, come back into the room and Om Shanti. Welcome back, my dear friends. I trust you had a wonderful Wednesday night, Thursday till we meet. Can someone just turn up the lights for me here? Ah, it's Santosh, wonderful. So, you're doing well. You're hanging in there, huh? It's so great to see you all back. Anyone would like to share anything about any sort of subtle shifts or even gross shifts that you've been feeling? I left you all off on Wednesday about having a minute of meditation, remember? And also to check on your conscious diet, conscious food, just being a little bit more mindful as to how the food actually gets onto my plate. Remember that? And I also just reminded you to wake up in the morning, but the first thought in your mind was, it's going to be a good day. What does God have in store for me? I used to wake up every morning for about 2 years. What's in my fortune today? Like a little kid in a candy shop, just waiting to find out what's going to be written for me today. So did you get a chance to try a little bit of those practices? Anybody tried it? All right, was there any sort of a, whoa, wow, it's working? Not really. Okay, so we got to dig deeper. Anyone had any really something special? Did you have like a special moment, just maybe within the week that you've been doing the sessions so far? Calmness. I've been feeling a little bit more calmness, a little bit more like I can handle this. I can deal with life a little bit more easier. Anyone else had any kind of a special experiences? Anything kind of popped open for you?
I think you also said when we talk to somebody, think of them as a soul, where we all came from.
Yeah.
And I did that, and I noticed I was really, really nice. I really, it was really coming out. So,
What a great story. Did you hear that? So Diamond shared that one of the things that was left as a homework assignment on Wednesday is to speak to individuals from the soul world, from this whole region of consciousness where you're really talking to them from that pure place. And Diamond said she tried it, and it was really, really, really nice, and that you really, really had a nice time, right? So your consciousness was different while you were speaking to the person, which made the interaction just very special for you. That was a great story. I love hearing stories like that. Anyone else? Any questions are coming up for you? We've talked about who we are. We've talked about I am this living energy. We've talked about the two energies that are operating inside of us, the two various kinds of sanskaras, remember? Love and peace and purity and truth and joy. And we talked about the algae that's been taking us over. Remember that? We also talked a lot about the connection to the Supreme Source so that the love from God can start to diffuse and melt and reduce the algae. I think we also spoke about that too on Wednesday, correct? So basically, we are now beginning to understand that when I'm meditating, I'm actually curing me, I, the soul. I'm putting back into the soul some deeper spiritual meanings. I'm actually paying more attention to myself. I'm becoming more conscious. I'm becoming more awakened. You're going to have up moments. You're going to have down moments. You're going to have the most amazing moments. You're going to have the most non-amazing moments. But that's what the whole journey is about. And the fact that you now have a kind of an idea, I'm so much better than this. Like I'm so much of a better version of me is sitting in me. In other words, when I tell you a better version of me sitting in me, I'm saying a person who can emanate the qualities of love and purity and peace more regularly than I do on a day-to-day basis. Now, whatever love and purity and peace and power and wisdom and truth actually impacts when I pick up a pen, when I cook a meal, when I get dressed in the morning, when I go to work, when I am writing up a document or I'm finishing up a deadline, whatever choices I'm making, as these original innate qualities are coming through my whole choice-making factor, when the vibrations and the intentions, it's so important to check always where are your intentions, where are your motives, because that is the base of everything that emerges in your life. If you have the intention to be a good-hearted, pure-hearted person, but you find that you go up and down with that motive and feeling, then you understand why life goes up and down with situations and circumstances, because it's not always. The interesting thing is that sometimes when the situations do occur, they seem to last for a long time. When the negative situations occur, it's like the vibrations of the repercussion of the negative situations, they almost seem like they don't leave you. Have you ever felt that? A situation could have occurred with you 10 years ago. Do you find that you can still remember it as if it was yesterday? So do you think the same formula is true? If I am a loving, pure person, and I've had many situations of pure love, why can't I remember it like it was yesterday? I want you to think about that. Yes? If I have very deep loving experiences, pure loving experiences, peaceful loving experiences, then why can't I remember it like it was yesterday? Many of us intellectually connect to it and say, yes, I am a loving person, I was a loving person, I am a good person, I know I am. But when we look at our lives, sometimes it's not fully matching up. But if something horrible happened to me 10 or 15 years ago, I can sit here and tell you as if it happened yesterday. And all the emotions will come back all over me again. Why do you think that is so? Any idea why you think that is so? Any reason why that would happen to you? Your body holds on to the energy.
My body holds that memory and that energy, and when you're in that moment, in that memory, you don't really move forward. But for me, the light seems to not shine as often as the negativity, because I'm still holding it in my body and in my consciousness.
Okay, I want you to hear what you just said. You said that you feel that the body, I know Santosh is videotaping. So you're saying that the body is holding the memory. Based on what you have been learning in the last week, could you clarify that a little bit more for me, or for all of us? Okay, so you would say, so you're basically saying that perhaps the memory of something negative, you're feeling it in the body. But who is holding the memory in the body? Is the body holding the memory, or is it the soul? Right. So I want you to sit with that clarity, because once we're very, very clear, we can stop wasting time in nulling over all the stuff that's been happening. And then I don't have to walk around thinking it's just that my body's holding it. No, the soul is holding the experience, and it's sending the vibrations in the body. So what we want to learn to keep doing is to find our power back. You're learning Raj Yoga meditation. So Raja Yoga meditation means really the supreme yoga. It is the king of all yogas. So that means you're building your mastery, you're building your rulership here. So that means you're about to take over the thoughts in your mind and to really be clear with who you are, where you're going, and why you're going there. So from now on, you're going to realize, if I fall down and bruise my knee, is my knee feeling the bruise, or is it the soul that's feeling the bruise? Who's feeling the bruise, the knee or the soul? I don't hear any convictions today. Come on, don't let me start back the course. Who's feeling the bruise, the knee or the soul? I can't hear you. Soul. Oh my God, I was thinking I was just going to start the course over. So why the soul is feeling the bruise is because the soul is attached to the body, and it's aware, oh, something just happened right there. The soul just saw, I fell. Ooh, and then it looked up and it saw, oh my gosh, it's bleeding. And then it connects blood to pain or suffering. And then it starts to basically determine how it will feel based on its sanskaras, based on the memories that are recorded in the soul. You can just be like, oh, it's just a bruise, don't worry, get up and go. You remember when babies first fall down, and then you don't want the baby to keep crying, you just go, oh, it's okay, it's okay. And the baby's like, oh yeah, totally doesn't remember. But if the baby falls down, you're like, oh my God, you fell? Bad boy, bad girl. And the baby goes, oh, yeah. And then they go on and on, right? So same way is that if you don't take control over the events that are happening outside of you, then those events will take control of you inside of you. Because there's so much intensity of algae. And I want to kind of give you something to ponder on. I don't want you to say this is a fact, but I want you to think about it. In 1901, the population on the planet was about 1.4 billion people. I always talk about this because I find it fascinating. We're now in 2018, and we are at 8 billion people. Now, each human being is a soul, and each soul is playing out a part. That means each soul either has algae, high vibrations, or their low vibrations acting out through them. Now, don't you find it fascinating that just in the last 100 and so years, we would be looking at an additional 7 billion souls on the planet? Where did they all come from? So in the class that we talked about on Wednesday, we talked about the soul world. Remember that? Remember how powerful that class was? That we all came from the supreme abode, the soul world. Remember Ryder? No one has taught Ryder to say anything that he said on Wednesday. When I asked the question, where do we all come from? And Ryder said, God. Remember that? So in Raja Yoga meditation, when we begin to learn how to meditate, we try to remember beyond our current birth. We try to remember at a soul level. Where did I, the soul, come from originally? So then you'd say that you came from the soul world, you came from silence, you came from peace, you came from God. So whatever's the language you need to use, remember we talked about the language process. Don't let that bump you up. Find the language that works best for you. It's the same place. It's just that the language comforts me based on where I am, okay? So imagine if we're all up here with the supreme energy, with God, with Baba, with light, with Allah, Jehovah, Khuda, Krishna, Bhagwan, Prabhu, Khuda, whatever's all the different names that they call the supreme energy. And we all come down here and we take a body when we leave a body, do we take another one? Or do we just go back here and sit? A lot of mystics have various ways of looking at how to interpret this. I'm just giving you a possibility of contemplating, where do I really go? What really is the story? Why are we carrying so much baggage? In our one lifetime, we might actually say, I don't remember going through all the stuff that I'm going through now as a child, but I'm just going through a lot. And so you wonder, is something going on inside of me at a much deeper level? Was it this class I gave the analogy of the iceberg, or was it another class? Was it this class? So I want you to, again, think about the concept of the iceberg concept. And the reason why I find this so fascinating is that the deep-rooted sanskars that are recorded inside of all of us is what's dictating my karmas, where I'm going, what I'm going through, who I'm connected. And as much as I logically, on the surface, want to say the right things, do the right things, make the right choices, still there's always something else interfering and creating a sort of a different energy. Have you noticed? Like, I did this right, I did that right, I'm a good person, I've done all of these good things. Where did this come from? So then we would look at that as if it's coming from some sanskar of something so intense, intensely recorded in the soul that it needs a lot of love and a lot of silence to absolve it, to lighten it, to reduce it, so it doesn't have the amount of intensity as it does in my life today. Go back again to the story. If I were to ask you about a negative situation that happened 10 years ago, why can you pull that file up so easy and go through the emotions and tell me as if it happened to you yesterday? But if I ask you to remember something really good and positive that happened in your life, and you bring back all these pure feelings, if I ask you to remember what it felt like when you were a pure 1 or 2-year-old, do you even remember? Isn't that amazing? but the recording is sitting in the soul. So where this whole concept comes from for us in Raja Yoga meditation is that there's a possibility that souls take rebirth. Sit with it. You don't have to accept it. Just ponder on it. And as a result of taking rebirth, is it that the older souls on the planet have taken so many lifetimes that the algae is so deeply entrenched in the sanskars of the soul that I can just pick up an emotion from algae in a second without any effort, but ask me to feel the purity of my 1 and 2 year old state, I need a little bit more time to get back to what that felt like. So just to show us the intensity of algae right now, I'm asking you to observe the importance of you taking care of yourself right now by having more yoga, more meditation. And the reason why meditation is so important is that what meditation does, meditation interferes in the cycle of the thoughts that I'm so accustomed to that is inspired by algae a lot. So each time I pause for meditation, it's as if I'm putting a stick in the wheel and it's just stopping for a moment. And as I stop, I'm able to think, well, what happened? What's been going on? And one of the reasons why obstacles are sometimes really good for us is that obstacles actually help us to get back to who we really are. So whenever we're feeling any kind of a pain from anger, lust, as a result of anger, lust, greed, attachment, and ego, our conscience will say, this isn't who you are. Now the reason for every obstacle, challenge, fortune, opportunity, wealth, happiness, power, the reason for all of those things in your life that happens to you, good and some that could be better, is a philosophy that we call it from the East. For many, many years, we called it karma. You've heard of karma, right? All right. A lot of times when you hear the word karma, you always think it's negative, right? You always go, oh my God, that's his karma, or that's her karma. Oh, things like that always happen to her, you know? But I want you to know that karma is also a very, very good energy. Actually, all the good that happens to you in your life right now is because of all your karmas. Isn't that something to celebrate? Right? So I want you to imagine karma actually is a result of actions. And the intensity of the result of your actions has a lot to do with what were your intentions when you were about to perform that action. Sit with that for a little bit. Focus on that for a little. Give it some thought. Santosh, is it okay? It's fine? Okay. So I want you to think about that. Every action that you've performed, do you remember what the intentions were behind them? Absolutely not. And if the intentions were focused from or coming from the sanskars of love and peace and purity and truth and joy, you're going to definitely believe the recording in your soul will be, I just can't wait for the sun to keep shining. It's going to be so good because I know this energy, this vibration can only bring back to me all that's good. If I performed any actions from the intention of algae, remember the combination of what algae meant? The big F word? If I perform any actions from algae, from the sanskars of fear, something in me, we walk with that feeling, a sense of insecurity, a sense of uncertainty, not fully assured in myself. My confidence isn't at an all-time high. And even if I do get spurts of confidence, I really try to pump myself up. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I just know I'm going to do it. We're going to get it done. And then after 5 minutes, you think I really can do this, right? And so this is really what happens to us, is that we try to pump ourselves up and we try to believe in ourselves, but something is holding us back. And so if we perform actions, and many of us have, all of us in the world, we sometimes perform the actions with a mixture of algae and peace, purity, joy, love, and truth. We sometimes perform the action where there's a mixture. And as a result of a mixture of motive and intention, it gets complicated. And when it gets complicated, I need more time to sort things through. And remember the virtue I said which was absolutely essential in your meditation practice as you moved along, is that in order to speed it up, you would really have to be really honest with yourself. And it's through the virtue of honesty that you're able to speed up your transformation. As I told you, my wonderful friend Carolyn Mice will always tell you, liars just won't heal themselves. And what happens is that if you're in a marriage, you're in a job, you're with a partner, you're in a community, you're with a whole bunch of people in the family, you never feel confident enough to be honest with what you're going through when they're around you. You sometimes feel you have to conceal what you're actually going through because the ego says, I don't want them to know. Or sometimes the ego says, I don't want them to be burdened. Or sometimes the ego will say, I don't know if I have the courage to do it. So if you're honest, you're able to see all the various thoughts and emotions that you can go through that are actually there trying to help you to break through the obstacle and to break through that base energy of sanskar that's like the iceberg that's sitting inside of the soul that keeps interfering in your freedom and in your happiness. So the whole law of karma is what's running this whole world. America's going through a karmic settling. It's in debt. So now it has to pay off. So it's going through a lot of pain and suffering right now. And when it's in its karmic abundance, it'll just keep being whatever it feels to be the golden age of the world at some point in time. Every civilization has had its good karma based on its citizens' values and virtues. It declares the quality of the country. And every country has been in their golden years or golden age. But when they forget those values and they forget those virtues, then those vibrations spread into the minds of the leadership, and the leadership pretty much presents to the people what they've forgotten and who they've become. And so every superpower, every culture, every country, from India to Africa to China, everyone has gone through this journey. And now what I feel the age that we're in is really the age of reflection. That we really need to look inwards and begin to do some real loving, compassionate, contemplative thinking on ourselves. So you with me? We are where we are in our lives because of all the actions we've performed. Based on the intention of the action, it determines how much happiness I'm receiving or how much lack of happiness I'm receiving. If I'm performing my actions that are fully charged with algae, you better believe it might be short term. It gave you pleasure but gave everyone else sorrow. So the return of that karma will be whatever was the amount of algae I performed that action in, it will come back to me in the form of algae. If I perform actions based on peace, purity, joy, love, or truth, whatever energy I put that action in, you better believe that has to find your address. It's got to find you. And there's no way in the world can anybody get in between that. No matter how hard they try to stop you from being the best that you want to be or to rise and be the most beautiful person that you want to be, nobody can stop you if that karmic address has got your name on it. So never believe somebody is the purpose for why you can't grow, or somebody is the reason why you can't achieve things in life. That's you. You got to break out of that. And why it's taken us so long to be able to decide to take responsibility for our lives and to push ourselves forward is because this algae is so thick. I really need to meditate more so I can reduce its intensity. So if I happen to be performing actions where the mixture is there, it's harder for me to see what am I doing against my freedom. What am I doing that's not serving me? The only thing I know is that I'm not happy. Something's missing. I'm not complete. I need more. There's something more for me. I have great ideas. I know what to do. I've got a great husband, a great wife. I've got a good job. I have some money in the bank, but I'm not happy. So when you find yourself in that state, or you can always find a situation where I'm having a problem with my wife, I'm having a problem with my husband, I'm having a problem with my supervisor, or someone did me something so horrid and I can't tell anybody about it. I don't know how to find the words to express what I'm going through. All of that energy is just sitting at the bottom, in the deepest aspect of my sanskaras. And that's why we need meditation, but not meditation alone. Meditation with knowledge. If you just sit there just waiting for something to happen and I don't really know what's going on, I could wait and wait and wait and I really don't know where to go. But if I'm getting the tools and I'm beginning to understand, yeah, it makes sense, I see why I'm going through this. I have mixed my motives when I made this choice. I thought I was giving, but I was really taking. Then with that choice and that understanding, then I can decide, let me shift this and go somewhere else with my thinking first, and then let me act. In the Brahma Kumaris, the leadership here, especially the spiritual leadership, whenever a decision has to be made, it's got to go through like 8, 9, 10 people before the decision is given to you to say, do it. Now some people get annoyed with that, but what they don't know is that as it goes through 8, 9, 10 people, they're purifying your motives. Because if you're getting anxious and upset and annoyed, the motive of you doing this has a mixture of vices in it. So why do you want to perform that action? It's not going to give you the return you deserve. So they put you through this process to just see, where are you? What's at the base of your motives here? And then you find out they get anxious, they get upset, and they're moving fast enough, they're not. Okay. It means the motives are still not clear for you. But if you can wait and trust and go, okay, so five people later, 8 people later, a week later, then they go, okay, Jenna, you can do it. Okay, thank you. I'm coming from a pure place. This is really God working through us. And it becomes a whole different return. Something in our Western culture that we're not very easy to understand. But in the Eastern culture, it's very common. But it should be a balance of East and West. Listen to voices that have been there, done that first. And then give it some time. Because all they're trying to do is to reduce the mixture of the motive so that there aren't a lot of obstacles along the way. Remember what you asked about how, isn't it the pain and the obstacle that actually helps you to move forward and to help you to grow? The pain and the obstacles will come anyway because algae is there. But why do I want to sign up for more if I can reduce it? So if I can reduce struggle and pain and disappointment and despair in my life, and I have the tools, then let me do that. Because I could use all that energy that I would use to get over my pain, to celebrate my joy, and to be grateful in my gifts and my talents and what I'm born to do. So karma are choices that are made through your five senses. Isn't that something? In every one of the meditation museums, you see the five senses in the exhibits. And so, whatever you do with your five senses, it determines where your karmas are. If you look at people and see their defects, it feeds the algae. If you look at people and see their virtues, it feeds your love, peace, purity, truth, and joy. If you look at people, see their defects, speak about their defects, it creates a deeper experience in you. It records not only the defect when you see it, but when you start to speak about the person's defect with emotions, it's definitely getting more recorded, because now your heart's feeling it. But if you can find the virtue in that, in anyone or in that person, and speak about the virtue of that person, then the karma that you're creating is a good one, because you're amplifying your true sense of self. If you choose to listen to things that can uplift you, such as coming here and learning more, or if you choose to listen to things that are negative, then what will be the karmic result? The vibrations of all the negative things that you hear will seep into the soul, go back into the bottom part of the iceberg, consciousness, right? And it's going to move things without you even knowing it's moving things. How many of you gossip about people? What do you think is the karmic return of gossiping about people? How many of you have heard gossip about you come back to you? How did it make you feel? So gossiping isn't a good thing. And so whenever we gossip about people, the energy of that comes back to us. And we don't even know why we attract people who are critical to us. It's a karmic settling. I find it fascinating, because I want you to keep remembering the boomerang effect. You know that game they play in Australia? Whatever goes out comes in. What goes around comes around. There's the law of cause and effect that takes place for each of our lives. And so here's the beautiful part about karma. You ready? Right now, everybody in the room smile. Now, the most amazing thing, turn to a person next to you and smile at them. You've just performed some amazingly good karma. Isn't that something? It was that simple, right? But how often do you do that in a day? Sometimes the soul is in such a heavy place that the hardest thing to do is, hey, how you doing? It just gets like that on some days. But when you can identify that's how you feel, I've had days like that. I'm like, yeah. It's like, I know what's going on up here. And I know that I have to try to find out what's happening. I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe no one did anything to me, but there's a lot of residue coming up from the bottom. And now I need to find out where to address it by asking myself the right question. So what I'd like you to do right now is we take a pause. I want you to turn to the partner next to you, and I want you to share a good karma story. I want you to share a good karma story, not about you, but about someone connected to you. Isn't that great? You'll have only 5 minutes to do that. Give it a shot. I want you to share a good karma story about somebody connected to you, not about a movie star, not about someone on TV, someone you know. That can be a really hard experiment. You know why? We don't take time to acknowledge the good people in our lives. I want you to start tonight. Find one person that you admire, and they have been a good person. Let them share a good karma story with the person near to you. Don't make that seem like the biggest homework assignment you've gotten all week. There's got to be one person in your life that you can share something good about, something you've observed about them. Wow. Guys, you need to get some new friends. Wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that amazing to just consciously talk about somebody connected to you, about something good? How does your body feel when you do that? How did you feel? How did you feel when you were talking about something good about someone around you or someone in your life? How did you feel? Good. How did you feel? Good. How do you think the person feels as the vibrations that you are speaking about them must be reaching them, right? So they must be feeling good right now, right? So you can call them tonight and go, did you feel good at 7:30? I was talking all about you. I love that. You see, we don't do that enough. Now, the opposite to this experiment is that you'll talk negatively about people. How does it make you feel? Bad. And what do you think the vibrations will be when it reaches them? So we're not helping each other when we speak ill about one another. So if you cannot speak something good about the other person, then what you're going to have to do is do Om Shanti. You're going to just have to go back to Om Shanti. It's not easy in this particular climate that we're in, but what I want you to do is practice. Catch yourself a little bit more, because you will catch yourself speaking something ill about someone, but just catch it. Catch it, where you can just say, Om Shanti, I don't want to do that. That's not making my body feel good, and that's not good karma. So what you just did, you met a new friend. You smiled at somebody. You spoke about somebody that was positive in your life. You heard somebody's story about somebody who was positive in your life. For the last 5 minutes, you created nothing but good karma. So that means somewhere, somehow, someone's going to be speaking something good about you. Someone's going to be wanting something good about you. Someone's going to be wishing that only good follows you. Got that? This is why karma philosophy is so important. It'll help you to keep attracting more good in your life than negative. Make sense?
No, it's something else. It's sometimes, even if you hear somebody talking about somebody else, your perception of that person changes.
Yeah. That's another negative karma. When you start to speak ill about people, you pollute that person's impression in that other person. Many people have this tendency of criticizing or defaming people's personality or character. One of the ways that you can create war on somebody for people to go against them is to speak ill about their character. And you can create this propaganda to all the right people that need to hear it. In an office, you tell the boss. At home, you tell the mother-in-law. You know, with your friends, you tell it to the one that you don't want to lose. Whatever it might be, in a company, in an organization, you speak the negative things about the person to the people that would matter. That's one of the ways in which people wage a war on you so that the other person can be disempowered or disarmed. And so it's really important for you to recognize that the words you speak have a lot of impact. I always remember a story about Maya Angelou. She was having a discussion about some interview, I don't remember which one. But Dr. Maya Angelou said that she was hosting a party at her house. And there was a visitor in her house. I don't know if you've heard the story. There was a visitor in her house who was behaving inappropriately. And she saw that. And she basically went to the person and says, not in my house will you behave this way. And the person, of course, is a relative or someone close, and it's just like, just chill, I'm just playing around. And basically, she told the person to leave. And the reason why she did that, she says, whatever energy you bring in my house goes into my walls, and I don't want to live in that energy. And I want you to understand the words that you speak have an impact, and they are alive in your environment, in your walls, in your phone, in your clothes, in your skin. So you want to be able to take charge of your karmas and really begin to take the high road always in the way that you think, in what you choose to listen to, in what you choose to say, in how you choose to use your hands. Are you a taker? In Indian culture, The deities are always like this with their hands, or giving. Take. Just take. They're not like, gimme. They're just take. Take what you wish. Take what you wish. Elton John sings a beautiful song, The Circle of Life. And in the song he says, you should give more than you receive. Just keep giving more than you take. That's not easy for us in this age that we're in, because a lot of our energy is algae-driven, and algae-driven energies are takers. And these are givers. So the more your purity and your love and your power is increasing, the more you'll find it very easy to give. And the more your algae is increasing, your motivation, your intentions will always be recorded in your personality. What can I get out of this? Before you make a decision. And that's where that's really more of a human behavior rather than a divine behavior. Now, you might say, Sister Jenna, that's all good and dandy, but a lot of people in the world are not always in this category, and they take advantage of you in your giving. No, not if your giving is coming from your God self, which is you're in connection to God, the Supreme Energy, and whatever energy Baba, the Supreme Soul, is flowing through you, they're taking from God. They're not taking from me anymore. So if they get into the habit of taking those qualities, those vibrations that I'm receiving from God, then I don't have any karmas with that person. But if they're taking from me, I'm going to expect you to give me back what you've taken, because you took it from me. And that's what we need now more than ever. We need to have a deeper connection to the Supreme Being, to the Source. That's why Raj Yoga is such a powerful tool right now. Because here's the practice. Take from God, give to the world. Take from God, give to the world. Take from God, give to the world. What we were doing before, take from the world, keep it with me. Take from the world, let me keep it with me. I will give whatever I can, but when I'm ready, on my terms. Let me see if I trust you. Let me see if you're worth it. Let me see if you're good enough. Will you seem like you have enough? Who am I to give you? You seem okay. Take from God, give it to the world. It's not about who has, who doesn't have, who should, who shouldn't. You take from God. Whoever comes in front of you will receive what they need to receive, and that's between them and the Supreme. And you have nothing to do with it. You're just an instrument. You carry on. You're being sustained by the Source. The more you can take these pure feelings from the Source, the greater the abundance of your good karmas will be, not only in this lifetime, but in many lifetimes to come. So, here's my introduction, my invitation to you. Get into the habit of performing actions that are driven. You can call this peace, purity, love, truth, and joy, whatever. Peace, love, joy. Peace, purity, joy, love, and truth. Sorry. It's the opposite of algae, right? Call this your purpose. Call this your life purpose. And however you want to, however the destiny has it written for you to fulfill your life's purpose, it will be revealed. Whether it's through singing, dancing, acting, writing, teaching, whatever it is, sales, dressing, fashion design, being a mother, being a father, whatever it is, in whatever form it'll take, it'll be a wonder when the world sees it. So if your life purpose is to create and amplify this energy in you, you will be very satisfied in whatever calls you. A lot of us are going after things to do and to prove and to lead and to become only because we saw someone else do it. So we weren't listening to God. We were looking at the other person. But that might not be what we were supposed to do. So we waste a lot of time trying to imitate another person, and we missed a big chunk of our lives. But if you're living your life purpose, you will get that touching, especially in the early morning hours. You will be touched. Make your coffee like this. You might end up becoming such a lover of fine coffee that the next few months or a year later, you find yourself in this karmic energy field. Somebody wants to offer you a coffee shop. I'm like, oh my God, I love coffee. And then you start to blend your beans, and all of a sudden, you're making a coffee shop that's a conscious shop, and people are coming over, and before you know it, you've got a franchise, and you're like, how did I get here? Because you were fulfilling your purpose. See, in the world today, we start from the outside in. We go, I want to create a big movement, or I want to create a big invention, or I want to write the best-selling book, or I want to design the best outfit of all times that every woman that wears it feels like she's Wonder Woman. Yeah, good. But what's your purpose? What's the energy that you're planning to sustain all of that, or to move you through gracefully? So that's a completely different way of creating karma. All right? Okay, so karma is definitely a cyclical process. So whatever you choose to do gets recorded in the soul. The soul, whatever it's feeling karmically, it vibrates throughout the whole body. The vibrations outside of the soul, in your environment, in your relationships, with your health, with your finance, all of it reveals what have you been doing with these particular tools. Have you been bringing in your life's purpose in the way you work, in the way you earn your money, spend your money? Or have you been bringing in this in the way you earn your money or spend your money? Food for thought. Sometimes we will go through hard times, and that could be some karmic energy from the past catching up. Because at a personal note you go, but I've been so good at managing so far. How come I'm here? But you could always find room that you would say, yeah, I could see where I might have kind of wasted a little bit somewhere along the way. So now I have to really catch up. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were saying, you know, sister, I'm really in a bind, and I have to, you know, get rid of my business because I'm not sure I'll be able to maintain it after 6 months. And I said, is it that you have to get rid of the business, or is it just that you have to work a little harder? Which one do you want to do? And so the other part of working harder and taking on another option to just bring in a little bit of that extra income to get them by didn't enter the consciousness. Isn't that interesting? So I have an energy, and the energy says within 6 months you won't have any enough. So that means in the soul I'm in the state of lack, right? I won't have enough, so I'm just saying this is all I have. But it doesn't say, oh, in 6 months, with what I have now, it won't be able to sustain it within a year. Let me start to do something now that I can optimize that so I don't have that issue in 6 months. Now that's when your life's purpose is working versus the fear. You see the difference of the karma? So when the karmic energy has the vices in it, it'll keep trying to take everything from you. But when the karmic energy has your life purpose and your pure sanskaras driving you, it'll keep telling you, do it like this, keep doing it like this, keep making it happen like this. That's how you can know when the karma is pure versus when it's trying to take from you because you're in debt So when you're in debt, the situations that appear in your life, when you don't use your connection to God and you don't use your faith in your life purpose, you're going to feel like the debt is just taking from you. When the situation emerges and it is a debt, and you go to Baba, you go to God, you go to the source, and you go, this is what's going on. What do I need to do? Where do we go? He will kick this energy into gear and will get your body up and moving and will start to take you where you need to go, to make that call, to talk to that right person, to be in the right place at the right time, to say the right things. And before you know it, you'll see this is your good karma. You're going to have humps. You're going to bump into some potholes along the way. But this is how Baba works when you use him. And you're not using him to get out of karmic debt. You're using God because you love that energy in your system. Because God's energy connects you to who you know you are. And that's why you use that energy to settle all your karmic debts that you owe of this lifetime or of previous lifetimes. So homework assignment. Did you like this one?
Yeah.
This one's interesting, karma, huh? We could go on with karma for a long time because everything that we're going through karmically is all because of the choices that we've made. Every choice has a consequence. Every thought has a consequence. And sometimes it's hard, and sometimes it just isn't. So focus more on the when it's not difficult. And the only reason why I have accepted something is difficult in my life, one, I don't really want to change. Two, I don't know if I have enough love to change. Three, I'm scared of change. It's all interesting, isn't it? But one of the interesting things is that just try. Whatever you've taken so far, just try. Even if it's just one aspect that you've received out of the Raj Yoga meditation course, just try one. And I guarantee you, there will be a positive change. And you like yourself more as a result of that. And people will start to like you too. All right, do you have any questions?
Yes. Actually, yeah, question. And going back to what you were saying, Sister Jenna, about the 98% takers, as you were talking, these were, I believe or I feel that all our little egos, everybody ego, has become collective ego. I call it a collective ego, and that's the algae that we see out now there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you mentioned something about the other energy, the intention behind the lovingness and all that, which is our purpose. And I was thinking, then our job is to, no matter where, is to bring that energy. So I had a conversation the other day with someone that is addicted to alcohol, and yet he wants to give it up. He has the willingness, so it's coming from that intention of lovingness because it's really in the family and all that. And yet he says, well, the atmosphere is not helping me.
Sure.
The collective ego. And I said, just get away, just change, just get away. But he cannot move because of that. So I said, so perhaps what are you doing? Perhaps your job is to change that. I said, I cannot get any other job because there's not a good intention in any job hunting that I've been doing. I need to do something that I feel okay. So that was kind of nice as you were talking. That's number one. Is that what it is that you were saying in a different way? And
Yeah, like in his situation, my heart goes out to him because he wants to change. But when it comes on to starting to live our life purpose, because this energy has a lot more activation in our personality. To find the courage to actually do it sometimes requires a lot more will. And you find that at the beginning when you're trying to stop with addictions, you just feel so uncomfortable. It's like getting out of a really bad toxic relationship that you know isn't good for you. But if you watch yourself gradually, little by little in your mind, you're preparing to actually do the ultimate breakaway. So I think there's those who are also in environments that are not conducive for their cleaning up process, but little by little in their private areas of their mind, they're preparing for when they'll find that big jump, when they can just say, I'm done, and just do it, even if they're in the environment. And I'll tell you this, with what folks feel with alcohol and drugs and all of that, it's like this subtle induced energy that makes them somehow give them a temporary sense that I feel better when I drink it, when I smoke it, when I take it. And so because it's the only thing that they've gotten used to feeling better, it creates a lot of problems down the road. So yes, your advice to him is good. And if it's really affecting him and the family, and he feels he can't do it because of the environment really isn't conducive, then he's going to be in for a quite interesting experience, because he has to break it out. He has to break away, because at the same token, it is a collective energy, but he still made that choice.
And the exercise that you gave us today, actually talking here with my partner, we came up with a loving person, and she mentioned her grandmother, that she's so loving and community work and all that. And I said, it's kind of interesting because my grandmother is the same, so we matched that. And I said, that's because it happened probably 60 years ago when we had less billion people.
Less billion people.
2 billion people, less income, less. So the atmosphere at that time was different than nowadays, right?
The atmosphere is very different now. It's definitely more amplified with algae, which is why that famous saying by Gandhiji, and even in the Brahma Kumaris, our quote is, when I change, the world would change. That we're not going to be able to wait for a prophet or somebody to come and save us. We're going to have to save ourselves, one person at a time. So when I change my personality and my energies in my system, I am contributing to the global change that I want to see in the world.
And one last question about the senses. You mentioned the senses.
Right, the 5 senses.
The 5 senses. Is that why when we have in front of us someone that cannot see, cannot hear, and one of those senses is just, they amplify their soul consciousness in a way that you see them and they say, wow, what a great individual.
That's a great point. What happens when you meet an individual who can't see, or they can't hear? So what's happening at a soul level is that their senses of the eyes is getting repaired. And so a lot of the vibrations of the purity is going back in the senses that are broken down. Apparently in a previous birth, they misused their senses too much. So it incarnates in the birth where it says, I don't want you to use your eyes anymore because you've been using it all for the wrong reasons, so just rest them in this lifetime. And so it no longer has to practice that karma, so that it starts to accentuate other abilities, more beautiful, more subtle, more spiritual things, and it goes back to the core of itself. So then it gets another chance to live out differently in another incarnation. This is one of the things that I love about the whole notion of thinking. Give it some thought. Connect it to your life. I'm not saying this is proof that you have to do it, but I do know that from our teachings in the Brahma Kumaris and what Brahma Baba has taught us and what he has left behind as a legacy has revealed a great amount of truths and ease. That there is a reason why I go through what I go through, with whom I'm going through it with. You know, there are people that you are just karmically connected to, and there is a reason. There's a reason why America's going through what it's going through. There's a reason why Africa goes through what it goes through. There's a reason why Japan goes through what it goes through. There's a reason why we are going through what we're going through. So what is the reason? Investigate it. Keep observing what your thought forms are. And if your thought form is connected more to this is good karma. It means you're accentuating all the good things that you are as God's child. If you find that your thought form keeps feeding the fear, then you need to recognize, I need to connect more to Baba. I need to have more meditation, more connection to the Supreme Being, so that the algae can be absolved and I can allow the purity of my life to come back to the surface. So it's almost like being blind, can't see, can't hear, don't speak. I'm bringing back all of my goodness back in my system so that my eyes will see the good in others, my ears will listen to the good about life, my lips will speak that which is good and well-being, and my hands will be generous. I remember the lady who was working for a political figure, and she was just distraught because she said, Sister Jenna, they won't give me a pay. They won't give me a pay and I can't pay my bills, and it's just every time I go in the office for a pay, they tell me no, there are no pay raises for now. And I said, but have you ever thought of reducing your desires? She never gave it a thought. Give that a thought. I think about this a lot. Why is the world increasing in its expenses for people? Yes, we have more people to take care of and serve, there's no doubt. But we've also heard that 2 to 4% of the world's population controls most of the wealth of the world. So what happened to the rest of the 95%, 96%? Can't the 4% take care of the 96%? So it's consciousness. It's consciousness. Sometimes I have the fortune of spending time with extremely wealthy individuals. And sometimes I question that, how come the thought never arises, let me find a way to use my money to create a community, a city, a world, a program that can eradicate poverty, create better drinking water, educate a girl child, take all those young girls from out of those brothels. The thought never comes. And maybe it's not supposed to. Because maybe everyone is where they're supposed to be to settle their karmas, and that person's time for their abundance. But again, how many pairs of shoes can you wear? How many cars can you drive? I know so many people that are doing so much good in the world, but they don't have the financial support from groups, organizations, or people to keep their good work going, to just let that dream go alive. And I know so many people with so much money wasting it, and they could help so many people, but it's like, nope, I'm going to buy another Tiffany's. It's just $200,000 for my diamond ring. And I'm not saying that they don't deserve it. They've earned it, because karmically they wouldn't be getting it. They've done some kind of a good donation in some birth that they've received that amount of abundance. They've given something of their spirit with such pure love. They gave with such a deep passion or something, that they have that financial abundance. But do they have the emotional and spiritual abundance? So that's another thing. Remember what I told you earlier? You could have everything, but you're not happy. So it's the same. Now I might be a person, I don't have anything, I don't own anything, but I'm pretty okay. Yeah, I'd love everything to match in time. Interesting, right? So think about your lives, Paul. Think about what you can co-create, how you can live it fully and with purpose, and don't waste it. Just don't waste it. All right, Diamond? All right, everyone. So thanks a lot. We're going to do a nice little meditation. Any other questions? Thoughts?
Yeah, you gave the example
Yeah.
and asking the person to leave out of their home.
Yeah.
That person was bringing that heavy algae and a lot of negative energy to the home, and that energy, they said, being trapped into the walls and having to stay there. Would my angel be considered wrong for asking the person to leave?
No, I think we all have a right to fulfill what our principles and our purpose might be. For her, she valued the vibrations in her home because those are the vibrations that spoke back to her. So I'm sure she didn't tell the man, get out of here, and kick him out and go, don't you ever come back here, boy. I don't think she did that. So I think she just said, you know, this is not permitted in my house. And he had a choice to go, oh, I'm so sorry, I won't ever say that again. But apparently he didn't. So he just thought he just could continue. So then she says, you're going to have to leave my house and I'll get your jacket. So I don't think she was doing it out of suffering, but she was saying, I don't want to pollute the rest of the people in my house with what you're saying. And it's very interesting because she had the power to do that. You see, her story, look at what she went through as a little girl. Look at what she witnessed. She went into 7, 8 years of silence, only reading. Comes out of it a bird. She sings and she speaks. She's eloquent. Her journey was not easy. It was never easy. It was tough. She had to sing. She had to dance. She had to go to Europe. She had to try to make money. She had to survive. There was racism in America. There was this, there was that. But then she started to get her rhythm, no? And at some point in her life, it finally started to come back to her. She wrote her book, Cageberg Sings. It really gave her the recognition, and then her mouth just didn't stop. And then the whole world wanted to hear what this woman had to say. But remember how difficult her whole life had been until it kicked in. And the karma changed and says, I want to hear you now. So sometimes we get impatient with our fortune, and we get impatient with our blessings. But what Baba says, be patient, but please keep putting in effort. Keep putting in the best. Keep doing the best you can for you. I wish I could have the experience for you to remove your suffering, but I can't. So the only person who can gain the experience to remove their suffering would be you. And you do it through your connection to the Supreme. All right? So the only time, and again, I can't even confirm if Maya gave sorrow or not. It had to do with where was she with her intentions. But I just think that whatever the person said must have been quite foul. That it was very clear to her, I don't allow that in my house. Like in our center, I won't allow you to come and bring meat, but I don't mean to be rude. But I won't have you sit and have a chicken dinner or steak dinner in our ashram. It's not that I'm being rude, it's just my principle. We don't support anything that hurts the soul. I won't have you bring vodka and cognac and sit down and have your drink while I drink my Perrier. And it's not that I have any problems with you, you're fine to do it, but you can't do it where we sleep. So you kind of have to know yourself that clearly, you know, so that you protect your world, because remember, when I change, the world will change. And the same thing that happened to your friend with the drinking, that he ends up in an environment of an atmosphere that doesn't support him anymore, and he doesn't have the strength to come out. So every time you compromise your principles with people who don't value your principles, it's an attack on you. And if they're attacking you and you're not strong enough, you can get weaker. And before you know it, you can't stand strong in what you used to believe in anymore. Because the energy has become mixed. So don't be afraid to step up and to raise your vibrations. Because as you're raising your vibrations, there are some people that will automatically fall off. They will automatically start to leave you, or you're going to feel like you have no interest to spend a lot of time with them. That's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just what it is. You're moving on. The story is changing for you. So as a result, you start to find that you attract more positive people, more inspiring people. One of the things that frustrates the living daylights out of me still is when I'm around people who are not inspired. It just gets to me. Because I live that, and I feel like if it's just you alone, why isn't anyone else inspired? It can help if all the birds are flapping and flying together. Then everybody feels supported. But if it's just one bird trying to lead everybody the whole way, it gets tiring. And that's why you want to choose people that can support your goals and your dreams, your purpose. Why spend your whole life fighting against people who are so algae-driven? So that's what this community is about. That's what this course is about. This is our opportunity. This is our golden chance to find the time, because time is so valuable for us, to listen, to share, to learn, and to grow, to be a contribution to the world, not a casualty of it. Okay? All right. So let's close off with some meditation. And Antonia, what's our program for tomorrow? Is what's going on?
Tomorrow, men and spirituality.
Oh, we have a nice program with men and spirituality tomorrow. We're creating a nice small group of men who want to grow spiritually and be more in their life purpose. That's at 1:30. And then on Sunday at the Tyson's Meditation Museum, we'll be celebrating Diwali, the Festival of Lights, the pursuing of happiness. There's going to be dancing, singing, good food, and of course I'll be there, and all the other BKs and friends will be there. And we're going to be sharing more about this. Sometimes you really just want to keep hearing until you get it, because sometimes we stay at home and we're in our comfort. It's mixed. So it takes longer to get clear. But when you actually have a teacher that can help you and really say this is not the way to go, or this is the way, it's different than just watching it on YouTube and then going to Spotify and listening to disco right after that, right? So it becomes a little bit different. Anyway, thank you for coming, and please be safe, keep yourselves warm, and remember the courses are on the Facebook, so you can go to the Meditation Museum and share it with your friends. So you have part 1, part 2, part 3 now. Next week we'll go through 4, 5, and 6, and after that you can decide if you'd like to go into the advanced teachings. But so far I hope you've been really enjoying it. I've been enjoying just coming and being with you, because it's just been helping me too to remember what woke me up, you know, and what's kept me awake. And so I thank you for offering me that chance tonight as well. Thank you so much. All right, so we'll close off with a little meditation, and Om Shanti. Big smile on your faces. Smile at the person next to you. On Sunday, between the ages of 9 and 14, and the children's program is called The Treasure of Happiness from Within. So between the ages of 9 and 14 in the Tyson Meditation Museum, if you know of any youths that you want to bring into a really positive, constructive environment of peers in their age group, please go into the website. It'll be from 2 to 4 at the Meditation Museum in Tyson's. And the age group will be between 9 and 14. And the facilitators are just wonderful people. And they've been putting in a lot of good effort. And I'm looking forward to seeing that particular program grow and do very well. So if you've got youths or friends, please check in.
Do we still have class on Monday, or is it Tuesday because of the holiday?
Is Monday a holiday? It's Veterans Day. Ah, well, how do you all feel? It's up to you. We don't have holidays. We give classes 365 days. I'm just letting you know that every morning we give a class, so we're never off. Are you all okay with coming? And if it's a holiday, do you want us to do it earlier? Then in the evening we'll be free? How is that? Do you want to just do it earlier, like at noon or 1 or 2 or 4? Oh, we're having a Middle East experiment. So Lynn McTaggart is a best-selling author who has been doing an experiment in which she says 3 or more people gathered together on the pure intentions can shift the environment. But what she's also noticed with her experiment, where she's used the power of 8 people, is that once 8 people gather in a room sharing the same pure intention, she's seen a dramatic shift. So if you'd like to join us on Monday from 1:30 to 2:30, it'll be televised globally. We did all the technical work today. So we'll have a lot of countries hooked up, and the Meditation Museum is a part of the experiment because Lynn McTaggart was on the radio show as well, and she's a close friend of the Brahma Kumaris. And so if you'd like to participate with the 1 to 1:30 experiment, then we can meet from 2:30 to 3:30 for the other course if you'd like. It's up to you. I'm giving you an option. Who can make it in the afternoon on Monday, and or who can't make it in the afternoon on Monday? Okay. We cannot make. Okay. So if for those who can't make it in the afternoon on Monday, who can make it in the afternoon on Monday, and we do this together from 1:30 to 3:30? Hands up. All right. So why don't we do this? I'm very, very open because I'm going to be here anyway at 1:30 on Monday. Let's do this together. For those who cannot be there at that time, how about if we do a makeup lesson on Wednesday? Would you like us to meet on Wednesday at 5:30? 6 o'clock? 7 is what's it? 6:30 is easiest on Wednesday. Would you be able to stay back half an hour later? Would you be able to stay back half an hour later then? So Wednesday, 6:30, and then the rest who didn't make up for Monday, we can do Wednesday and do half an hour later. Is that okay for the group on Monday? Be happy. I want you to be happy. You sure? So basically, on Monday, we will do the experimentation and continue in lesson number 4. Please make sure you write that down. And Antonia, please get the names of those who will come on Monday, because we want to make sure we have you down so we have everything prepared. From the 1:30 to 2:30 experimentation, Peace in the Middle East, from 2:30 to 3:30, we will finish our lesson number 4. Is that okay? Lesson number 4. 2:30 to 3:30, lesson number 4. Now, Wednesday night we will be closed.
Do we have, because it will be a different setup, can we leave like 15 minutes so we can?
Yeah. And on Wednesday, what we will do for those who did not make it on Monday, we will do half an hour later. Is that cool? Then that means instead of finishing off at 8, we'll finish off at 8:30. Is that all right? We'll catch up, because Monday's session will be focused a lot on the cycle of time and how things are repeating itself. We'll enjoy it. All right? Okay. Om Shanti. Let's have Brother Santosh.
feel it now. It's all around me, a silent voice I can't deny. A mother's arms, how they surround me. They sing the beauty of my life. It will last forever. It will never fade away. Never cause me pain. This love, this love. I close my eyes. It takes me over. A memory deep down in my soul. And safe from harm, to be beside you. A light will shine upon the world. It will last forever. It will never fade away. Never cause me pain. This love, this love. It will last forever. It will never fade away. Never cause me pain. It will last forever.